Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today we're talking about my writing folder on Google Drive. Now, if you guys saw, I know I did a previous video about my YouTube folder, or at least my calendar. This is how I organize my life. Yes, it is chaotic. Yes, it looks crazy. It helps me. If it makes you feel better, my editor, Haley, and Taylor, actually, they both hate this folder. They both originally had access to the entire folder and they were looking at this going, what the hell are we looking at? Because, let's look at the fiction. You click on fiction, you end up with even more folders. If I go into books, you have more folders. If I go into spicy books, you have more folders. Like, it just never stops. It's folders within folders within folders. So, what I really wanted to talk about today, beyond how crazy my mind organizes things, is to just look at a couple of the folders and just a couple of the things. So, I gave myself a timeline for this year. We're going to start with our books one before we get into our timeline. So, this is what my book one looks like for like publishing when I want books done. So, you have Dear Love, obviously. Yeah, if you guys saw last week's video, this is going out in July, not August, because I decided we were going to try and get Dear Drugs out this year. If we scroll down, I have books ready up until 2031. Well, not ready, but ideas up until then. If we pop over into my timeline one, this is just this year that I'm trying to get done. Now, obviously, these are all just random book titles. They're not going to make any sense to you guys. Like, don't think anything of it. And then I started on 2027 of what books I wanted to try and get done. So I can tell you right now, these these ones, these are all my short little smut ones that we can take a look at. Not actually take a look at, but we can go into the Spicy Book folder and look at Alphabet 13. Now, the exciting thing is, so book one, Don't Tell, went out this year. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. Book two, The Drive, is going out later this year. Or Don't Tell went out last year. Sorry. The Drive is going out later this year. The Scare goes out next year. I'm currently working on Comfort. And so, yeah, no, there's 13 books in this series. I have the ideas. They're all literally I don't know how well you guys can see this, but there's one, two, maybe three lines worth of typing here. That is the entire idea behind each one. So, um, there's a decent amount of spicy books in here. I'm not going to lie to you. A Kingdom's Promise is the one that Haley and I are most excited about. This will be featuring Iron Trap, um, and the books that go in that series. Let me just tell you guys, I started writing this and Haley was ecstatic. Like, she absolutely loved it, absolutely adored it, was so happy. And then we started thinking logically about it on a family tree, which will be in one of the books, don't worry, and a map of the kingdoms. It's kind of a modern take of a princess king story kind of thing. And then we started thinking about the characters and how they looked and everything. And we started doing research. Like, if I thought that other books I did were easy, I was fooling myself. Because if I go into the Dear something, I have an entire notes thing dedicated to Dear Love. Because I was trying to figure out what mental, not illness, but mental thing Piper was dealing with. And if you guys missed that video, that was our last week's video, talking all about Dear Love, that will be going out later this year. But still, we have a ready to be edited folder. I have nothing in my 2026 folder anymore. I do have The Scare, which Haley and I are currently working on for 2027. Um, ready to be published is The Drive. That's right. And then we have all the published ones in here for and it makes me so happy to see these all here. Book things. No, not what I want. So let's go into our stories to finish really fast. Also because I haven't gone through, we did our first editing, we did our first rewrite. It didn't need a second editing. So that was that? I think that was like January 20th or so. Um and this gets published on the 15th. So like you can see these, like we're currently doing our second edit. So I'll label that as done even though it's not technically done yet. But like you can see this on, like, this is how we are doing things, going through like this and figuring out when we finish them, when they're published, all of the fun stuff there. We will be getting into my reading folder later, or in a later video. I just wanted to talk to you guys about this. I have an entire thing for dedications on like which books are being dedicated to who. Book types. So this is what I use when I'm writing my books to try and figure out like what I'm writing at a time. So most of my books fall into the novella category. Um, I don't think any of them are under 8,000 words, at least the short ones. Obviously, I have a couple of longer books coming in the future, but I don't think any of my short ones fall into a short story category, or at least that are published. I know I have a couple. So basically, everything that I have so far is novellas. We're normally about the 10,000 or so words. A couple of them fall in the 9,000, which is a weird in between short story and novella, but they end up at the page thing. So, a short novel, obviously, we have 50,000 to 70,000 words, 250 to 350. I think that Iron Trap is going to fall in the short novel category. Now I realize you guys don't actually really know what Iron Trap is yet, but that is the princess one in the A Kingdom's Promise series. And then I have like how many words should be in a chapter, like how many chapters in a book kind of thing. Paragraphs, how many sentences slash words, about 300 paragraphs per chapter without dialogue. Yeah, that doesn't happen for me half the time, and I know it. And then we have sentences. So like I come back to this thing all the time when I'm writing. I'm like, great, okay, like where am I falling in the book category, and where am I falling on what I'm aiming for with my sentences and chapters. Like it just helps me. It keeps me a little more organized. Um these are all ones that are just finished and I'm kind of sitting on until I release probably a big like short story book of random things. I have an entire folder for names, for like first, last, and middle names, so that, when I need a random character's name. Obviously, when I start writing a book, so like, not what I want. You know what? Let's look at Dear Twin for this. So like, obviously, I knew Piper and Maddie and Peter and or Piper, Maddie, Peter, and Mason. Like I knew the siblings. I know their mom. I know their dad. Um, I don't want to really spoil anything, but like I had to pick out names for Maddie's best friend, for her mom, which I'm not gonna elaborate on, for people in her life, um, for her half sister. Like I had to pick out names for these people, and that is where my name thing comes from. So that when I need a random name, it's like, oh, right, yeah, I guess I'll just pop in here and be like, okay, like choose a random first name for a girl. Like, oh, great, Emma. It's the first one I saw. We'll use that, I guess. Um, some of them are kind of out there, random and weird. Some of them are on like both things for like who you could use it for. And I love that. But I'm not gonna concern you guys too much or make this video too long because I realize that looking at this, it looks crazy. Um, I know we went over our covers, like how we create the covers. This was the original Dear Help cover. I have a couple. This was the original one that I had planned for Don't Stop, Just Go. And then we ended up with this. This is the actual cover for that book. This was the original cover for Dear Twin, which we changed to this. This is the Don't Tell one. So, see, I did the Dear Love one, and then I was like, oh, I really like that. And then I was like, this doesn't match any of the other books. So I went in, I redid Dear Help, I redid Dear Twin, and I redid Dear Bully so that they were all similar enough that they look part of the same series. But, so yeah, no, Google Drive runs my entire life. I'm not kidding. Other than the app that my work schedule gets put on, Google Drive runs my entire life. I have it for my entire reading stuff. I have it for my entire YouTube schedule. I mean, hell, I can look at my YouTube schedule right here because I have it pulled up because since I'm filming, it's pulled up. So like I can see what I need to do. Like, yeah, Google Drive runs my entire life. But if you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a like, consider commenting, and consider subscribing. And I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye, everyone.